Hello again. Apologise for the background. That's been a lot of feedback has been the background. Unfortunately, my desktop is fixed now. I don't really have a lot of space to move it around with wires, etc. But I am working on changing the background. In the process of trying to get a little webcam that kind of comes off and moves around and stuff like that. Hopefully the mic then will be able to work on the other side of the room. But there is a nicer view on the other side, I think, as well. And the lighting as well is apparently an issue. But anyway, let's not worry about that because the videos are content based. And although I hope the content is interesting for you and people are getting something out of it. If they're not, please do let me know if there's something. I notice if I do happen to look back in a video that I may have missed something, because that's the thing about being human. Well, wonderful. Like, we do forget things. We don't always get through everything we need to get through, and I've noticed things that I'm going to add on extras and second parts and part twos and stuff like that. So that's coming down the line as well. So I just want to know, do you think you work in a toxic environment? And just, I can hear the scream. I can hear I can hear you. Just because you have a git of a boss, a horrible boss or something, it doesn't mean you necessarily work in a toxic environment. I spoke about there in an earlier video about the psychological safety. So if you're not in an environment, a work environment that feels psychologically safe, you're essentially working in a toxic environment. And I've worked in toxic, very, very, very incredibly toxic environments, which are very damaging to mental health, and they had a terrible, absolutely awful effect on me. So, like, obviously you can do the number of things. You can do the bringing to your manager the issues that you're concerned about. Now, in a good work environment, that should be, we should be encouraged as staff to be taking our concerns and our, not really criticisms, but something like safety, health and safety, for example. They should be feeling safe to be able to bring health and safety concerns to a manager. If the manager doesn't have them and their manager doesn't hold them and their manager doesn't hold them, well, and basically the feedback down the line is just that they're ignoring you, or you're nothing, or it doesn't matter, we're not listening to you, or you're seen as a trouble riser or a complainer in general. So that's a very negative environment. So that's step one. Maybe that failed. Step two is just suck it up. Unfortunately, suck it up if you can. I couldn't. I'm not that kind of person. I couldn't suck it up. I let it get in on me, and then I went to the third stage, which was quit. That was my choice. So the thing is, if you're working in a toxic environment, it's actually really, really bad for your mental health. It's immeasurable how damaging it is to your mental health. And I've spoken to a lot of people over the last while who work in a toxic environment, and it seems to be that the toxic environment is from the top. So if you have a toxic manager at the top, the toxic manager passes on their, like, we can call it bullying, we can call it whatever else, but they can pass on their toxic management style to their subordinates. And the subordinate may want to try and do it another way, but the toxic manager is relentless and just keeps coming and demanding and making demands of them. So they're experiencing this toxic environment, and so on and so on, and it keeps filtering down until it gets to you. And it's as if, you're nothing and you're feeling really bad. And an example of a toxic management style would be something like gaslighting. I probably will do a different talk on gaslighting, but essentially gaslighting, for the purposes of what I'm talking about, is, I take an example from my history. So I had a manager who I presented an issue with. For example, it was I worked with a female member staff. She was my partner for a long time, and you'd go in the morning, you'd have to change, but there was no changing rooms. So you'd take turns, and one would go into the changing room and change into the uniform, and then the other would be changing room. And there was a lot of complaints coming down the line that we were taking too long getting ready to start work. So I presented it to my manager. Listen, this is the issue. This is the concern. So there was a health and safety concern as well, welfare concern, and I highlighted this, which obviously was ignored, but brushed under the carpet, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But the point being that the manager said, oh, definitely, absolutely, I can see the point. Yeah, oh my God, you're brilliant. Yeah, fair play. Thanks so much for bringing that to me. What I need you to do is A, B, and C. And I went off and did A, B, and C. And then A, B, and C was ignored. And I'd send an email to say, listen, I did that thing, what are you going to do now? And they'd say, I never said that, and I don't know what you're talking about. I never said anything like that. And I'm going, what? I never said anything like that. I don't know where this is coming. And they'd laugh. They kind of go, how do you think you are? Like, I never said that. Wasn't me. It wasn't me. And it makes you kind of doubt your sanity, kind of going, what? Did that happen? Are you sure that? So it's this, and this is happening all the time, constantly in employment. I'm hearing stories all the time, honestly. And this thing of lads feeling that they're going mad. That they're, was that said to me? And feeling really bad and feeling really, I feel stupid and all this kind of stuff. But that's how you know you're in a toxic environment and you have a bad manager. If your manager's making you feel that way and you're questioning your sanity, it's not your sanity. You're actually right. It's they're terrible managers. But what do we do with them managers? What can we do with them? Like, they're being employed. It seems to be now like, and again, I'm not trying to manager bash. I'm not trying to say all managers are the same, because there are very good managers out there. But there's a particular cohort of managers in a certain organisation who seem to, it's nearly like on the application form, they ask them, are you a bad manager or are you toxic? There's no assessment, there's no trial, there's no coming back and assessing them to see if they're anyway good, because like, it's terrible, because they're actually damaging people's mental health. And it's not just the organisation I came from. I've been in communication with a lot of different people in a lot of different organisations. And the fact is that they're out there. These managers are out there. And it questions their own ability. And if they can make you look stupid and seem stupid, and that'll stop you going to them, won't it? It'll stop you challenging them. And if they put their authority out there, like, who are you to challenge me? Who do you think you are? That's not about you. That's about the bad manager. That's an absolutely diabolical, terrible manager. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And that's why, like me, thousands of people have done the one, trying to change, trying to do something, try to help, try to do the job as best they can, try to show them as politely as they can that this is being done wrong. They're ignored. They try to put up with it, but realise their life is at risk here. If I continue doing what I'm doing, I'm at risk. And then 3, they just go, I'm done, I'm out of here. And that's just going to keep happening because the bad managers are there. So the question being, how do you know you're in a bad, a toxic workplace? You're not being heard. You're feeling terrible. You're feeling horrible. You don't want to have to go into work. Nothing you do is ever good enough. And that's I can probably hear the scream. That's a lot of people out there. So my advice is just to go together. And I know it's so difficult in a job I left. The managers are so clever in a not in an intelligent sense, but in a very sly, conniving sense. They will get together and they will say, one person looking for time off will get everything they want. And one person looking for time off will not, and will told you have to come into work and I don't care about your mental health and that person's absolutely bullied. There's no other word for it. So the first person here then, when they're going to me, say, listen, can we come together and form a union or form something and bring it? Oh no, I get everything I want. No, that's great. So it's this divide and conquer management style. That's a toxic environment, lads. If your manager hasn't enough courage or having enough intelligence to turn around and say openly, well, listen, I actually can't give you that because A, B and C, but honestly, I will do my best. How about if we arrange it that such and such takes off this week, such and such takes off there, and so, or maybe look at who needs it more. You know, that kind of way. Let's see if we can make a compromise here. But they don't. They just come in and say, this is the way it is. I don't care about your life. This is what I'm doing. So if that doesn't answer your question, how you live, how you know you're working in a toxic environment, I don't know what does. Because I do know there are lads out there who are absolutely feeling that they are mad, they are not good enough, they're losing their mind, they haven't done the job as well as they could do. But the reality is the opposite. You are actually not the problem. It's your manager that's the problem. So the thing to do is just everyone get together and just refuse to work for a manager like that. What are you going to do? Sack you? There's too many people after leaving the job. And I'm not talking about my job, I'm talking about the job, because across the board there's walkouts because managers are so toxic. So they can't sack everybody. And they probably won't sack an individual because it's too much paperwork. Anyway, I love these rants. These are therapy for me. Anyway, I hope some of what I said helped you, and I'll talk to you soon.